great to meet
Okay.
you. I love the album. Thank you for taking a minute out today.
Yes, thank you.
You bet. So let's begin with putting this album together. What was kind of the vision for this album? What was the sound you were going for?
Uh, it's a huge question. In fact, the music, it's been 10 years that I compose some tunes, and I have kind of a vision for my development as a person and as a musician. And through the mythology, I always compare myself to heroes of the mythology, and I try to to go through the all the épreuve, we say in French, épreuve,
Yeah.
that I see all the difficulties of life as the what a hero of mythology has to to pass through. So it's a huge development, and 2 years ago my wife was pregnant, and I think it was kind of the uh, a big step for me,
Yeah.
and and it was the end of all this period of my life, which has taken approximately 10 years, I think.
Yeah.
And that's what what was the album when it happens at this moment, at
Yeah.
this time.
So, what are you hoping the listener gets from this album?
Can you repeat the question?
What are you hoping the listener gets from this album?
I hope it will get some strengths to to help him go through all the difficulties of life, and some quietness, some I think as the music as something like vibration, and that can brings a peaceful state of being. So I want the listener to feel this kind of in French we say apaisement, peaceful state of being,
Yeah.
and some strength, some, yeah, sometimes we have to fight during the 10 years I told you about. I did some boxing and a lot of fighting things to help me.
Yeah.
So strength is there. So I want the listener to feel this peaceful and strength and fighting spirit, and
Yeah. So,
that's it.
take me back to your beginnings. How did you get into music? Who were some of the early jazz heroes for you?
I grew up in Normandy, in north part of France, and there is a song about uh, Harold. The song called Harold is part of the history of Normandy, because there is a William the Conqueror who he was a king, and he from Normandy he conquer he went to England, and he fight against English people in the in 1200.
Yeah.
So Harold is a part of history of Normandy. So I grew up in Normandy, and I had a very good teacher. And one of my first heroes was a French saxophone player, and he was a strange guy living in the wood. he was a very a poetic guy, listening a lot to birds. The first band he had was the name of a bird. In French we say pique et pêche.
Yeah.
And this first hero for me, as when I listened to his music, I had very strong emotion, and that was my first emotion with music.
So what was the first live jazz show you saw that really inspired you?
This was this guy. He's called his name is Patrick Martin.
Yeah.
It's a real French name, and it was under a circus chapiteau. I don't know how to say in English chapiteau.
Yeah.
It's the where circus take place,
Okay.
and he plays saxophone, but he plays also flute, but recorder, not flute, just this one.
Yeah.
But it was really poetic, and in the countryside of Normandy. And then this guy starts playing some music from Tristano, Likonitz, and Tristano. He had another band called Palo Alto,
Yeah.
and I start listening to Likonitz and knew more about American jazz after that.
Have you been over to the States to see jazz here?
Yes, I came to New York twice, and I took some lessons with John Ellis
Okay.
and Chris Chick.
Yeah.
And when he came to France, I met J.D. Allen because he's one of my favorite saxophone player. There is a song for J.D.
Very cool. So why do you love jazz?
Why do I love jazz?
Yeah.
I think it's it's strange because at the beginning, when I was only 12 or 13, I start listening a lot to jazz, and I remember listening a lot to Kenny Garrett and Farwa Sanders, but randomly because my parents weren't musicians. And then when I start going to concerts, I start feeling some energy inside of me, and I start when I went to concert, I it was like a meditation. I never did yoga or meditations before going to a concert, a jazz concert, but I start when I went to my first jazz concert. I start being seated and being right, the back very straight, and I felt some energy going through my head and some vibration. So this is just a feeling that this was why I love jazz, because I feel some vibration.
Yeah.
And then I have a very mathematical way of thinking. So the melody, I start transcribing some solos, and the mathematical gymnastic for building melodies. I really it's very satisfying. Very we feel that the brain is very exciting by this kind of constriction.
Yeah.
So that this is why I love jazz.
Yeah. So what about live shows? What
Feelings and brain intellectual
Yeah, I get it. I totally feel it. What are you doing for live shows and promoting the album? If anybody wants to catch you live, how can they do it?
The album went out in March, and so we had already some concerts with the band, and now it's kind of a break because I try to go to bigger place to have shows, not only Parisian clubs. So I'd like to have a promoter, or I try to find a way to be in the festivals and bigger shows in France.
Okay.
And as I just had a kid, I had some time, kind of a break, family break, and but now my goal is to play this music, but in different places in France, and maybe in Europe and more.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So if anyone wants to pick up a copy of the album, what's the best way to do that?
Uh, Now you can send me a mail. I
Okay.
think it's the better solution, because a lot of people now go to the platforms
Yeah.
to listen to music.
Yeah.
So you can find my music on all the platforms, but if you want the copy, because there is a nice cover that has been made by a friend that who is a saxophone player, and she comes from United States.
Yeah. It it's a wonderful cover. Again, I love the album.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking a minute to talk about it, to talk about your life and
Yes.
music. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to talk to you and to talk about my music, and to speak to someone from Kansas City, because it's really the birth of jazz. I know Charlie Parker is from there, and in Paris I often met Herman Mehari,
Okay.
the trumpet player.
Oh,
Herman.
Herman. He's wonderful.
Herman. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
lives in Paris, next to my place, so I often see him in the street, and we talk together.
Cool.
So it's yeah,
I love
very
Herman.
nice guy, and yeah, me too. I often see him running in the park in the Butte Chaumont in Paris.
Very cool. Well, tell him I said hi.
Yeah.
I'm friends with
Okay.
him. I've interviewed him a lot. I used to see him a lot in
Okay.
town, to send my best. And